What if the next economic calamity is already here? Not in a dramatic Wall Street crash or a primetime Federal Reserve pronouncement, but in something far more subtle and lethal. Around us, some of the most well-known American firms are silently collapsing. They still have flashy commercials, CEO speeches, and hopeful investor slides. But underneath, they're drowning in debt, laying off employees, and losing market relevance. From Silicon Valley titans to Detroit's biggest manufacturers, big box stores to dazzling internet innovators, this is more than just a rough patch. It's a slow-motion implosion. And the most concerning part, you will not learn about it until it is too late. Because while politicians debate on TV and the media distracts with show, the corporate underpinnings of the United States economy crumble in silence. This is much more than simply one or two firms going bankrupt. This is a systematic failure. The consequences of cheap debt include inflated values, global instability, and a consumer base that is now more concerned with survival than consumption. What about the canaries in the coal mine? 20 enterprises that should have been unassailable are now at risk of failing with the next storm. So buckle up. What you're going to hear is not guesswork. It's a warning based on real data, layoffs, and disintegration. These are the 20 American firms that may not survive the impending financial crisis. We used to assume that technology was recession-proof, but by 2025, the fiction is crumbling. Tesla, long regarded as the pinnacle of invention, is now struggling under its own weight. Deliveries have decreased by 20%, while battery component costs have increased by 25% as a result of tariffs. Debt, an astounding $30 billion. With the Cybertruck troubled by recalls and plant shutdown rumors in Texas, even insiders are abandoning ship. The company's exorbitant valuation, still more than 100 times earnings, now appears to be a financial delusion rather than a viable future. Apple, the most recognizable name in technology, is no longer untouchable. iPhone sales are down 15% due to tough Chinese competition and the end of cheap lending. Antitrust litigation is piling up, App Store income has stagnated, and the corporation is over $100 billion in debt. As worldwide shipments slow, warehouses stack up with unsold stock, pushing Apple to offer steep discounts that eat into its valuable profits. Intel received a $2.2 billion government rescue under the CHIPS Act, but nevertheless slashed 20,000 jobs. Why? Because demand for PCs and servers is down 30%. Intel currently owes more than $50 billion, and increasing interest rates are making that debt a financial albatross. There is discussion of selling off its foundry sector, indicating that desperation has set in. Even Nvidia, the gold standard of AI processors, is not immune. Despite all of the hoopla, the company's value has decreased by 30%. Tech budgets are dwindling, chip demand is declining, and new tariffs threaten more than $100 billion in value. The company's over-reliance on the AI story is becoming a disadvantage. Finally, Unity Software, once the foundation of half of the mobile games on your phone, is barely hanging on. Developer budgets have fallen, its stock is down 60%, and losses of $2 billion have devastated investor trust. Rumors of an Epic Games acquisition are circulating, and when your primary source of income is being swallowed up by a rival, you know the end is close. The American car sector isn't merely idle. It's on its way to the cliff's edge, and 5 of its most prominent figures have already pressed the emergency button. Begin with Ford, one of the country's oldest and greatest brands. Its electric car segment loses more than $5 billion each year, and the corporation owes more than $100 billion. High interest rates have made automobile loans unaffordable for most Americans, reducing demand across the board. Rumors of manufacturing closures in Michigan and worker discontent indicate internal chaos, and Ford's stock has fallen 25% this year alone. General Motors is not doing much better. General Motors has placed its future on electric vehicles, but the change is costing more than projected. With $120 billion in debt, declining truck sales, and shrinking profit margins. As a result of tariffs, the corporation is on the verge of collapse. Union strikes have increased the strain, and internal concern is evident. Executive incentives are being reduced, a traditional symptom of turmoil behind closed doors. Consider Rivian, formerly regarded as Tesla's most formidable competitor, but it's missing delivery objectives by 30%. Expenses are skyrocketing owing to tariff increases, and Amazon, its main investor, is quietly withdrawing. The stock is down 50%, with no route to profitability in sight. Emergency fundraising discussions with venture capital companies are becoming a weekly occurrence. Rivian isn't leading the electric vehicle revolution, it's just trying to survive it. The used automobile market is likewise in decline, and Carvana is the canary in the coal mine. Auto loan defaults are increasing, repossessions are up 20%, and Carvana's $6 billion debt, incurred amid rapid development, is becoming hazardous. Loan delinquencies are at a 5-year high, and the corporation is facing regulatory scrutiny for dubious lending practices. Carvana's business model is based on easy credit, which no longer exists. Finally, there is Hertz. Just out of bankruptcy a few years ago, it gambled heavily on an EV future and failed. Its switch to Tesla has failed, with usage rates falling below 70%. To remain solvent, the corporation is attempting to liquidate its EV fleet through a fire sale. Meanwhile, it still owes $20 billion, and increasing interest rates are suffocating its recovery. From iconic manufacturers to startup disruptors, the whole industry is being pressured by high debt, slow demand, and a customer who can no longer afford to drive. If the shopping mall was once the epitome of American capitalism, it is now a cemetery. The headstones are being carved for brands such as Macy's, Rite Aid, Victoria's Secret, Beyond Meat, and Bed Bath & Beyond. Begin with Macy's, the department store that influenced generations of Christmas shoppers. It is now closing over 100 more stores as inflation, e-commerce, and declining foot traffic wring out what little relevance it still has. The corporation is in debt for $5 billion, and an inventory oversupply has triggered frantic fire sales that are eroding profit margins. Amazon's shadow is becoming larger by the day. In the first quarter alone, Macy's recorded a 5% loss in same-store sales, and the bleeding has not stopped. Then there's Rite Aid, crushed beneath the weight of roughly $500 million in drug settlement expenses. Over 1,000 shops have already shuttered this year. It is attempting to sell assets in order to pay creditors, but with $3 billion in debt, even this will be insufficient, and competition from Walmart, Amazon, and CVS has made the pharmacy industry a corporate battle zone. Rite Aid lacks the necessary troops and armament to survive. Victoria's Secret, long an emblem of luxury lingerie, is rapidly vanishing. Sales are down 20% as customers prioritize comfort, diversity, and affordability. However, this is more than simply a branding issue. It is also a financial concern. The corporation was split out as an independent public organization with billions of dollars in debt, and it is now paying the price. Tariffs have increased the cost of luxury goods at the same time as inflation is reducing demand for them. The brand is obsolete, and Wall Street agrees. The stock is down 35% this year. Even the food revolution is crumbling. Beyond Meat, the once popular plant-based diet, is collapsing. Sales are down 25%. Real meat is once again more affordable, and with tariffs raising the cost of imported ingredients. Beyond Meat is spending money simply to stay on the market. They incurred a $100 million inventory write-down in only the last quarter. Major supermarket stores are discreetly withdrawing items. Bed Bath & Beyond, despite its high-profile bankruptcy and reorganization, is on life support, with fewer than 100 locations surviving and quarterly losses topping $200 million. Even its second act is failing. Inflation has eroded demand for non-essential household items, and the large box model simply does not fit into current budgets. Retail is not being disrupted, it is being obliterated. These firms are no longer in competition. They are battling extinction. When a recession strikes, people do more than just tighten their belts. They cancel anything that is unnecessary. For tourism and leisure industries, this spells financial devastation. AMC Entertainment is fading in the age of streaming. This year, movie attendance has plummeted 15%, while box office sales have fallen 25%. Theaters are failing to draw even blockbuster audiences, as Netflix, Amazon Prime, and Disney Plus dominate living rooms. AMC is still carrying a $5 billion pandemic debt, and with landlords eyeing their premises for conversion into warehouses, the writing is on the wall. Rumors about shutdown cinemas are not just rumors. They are survival measures. Carnival Cruises, a holiday industry behemoth, is rapidly expanding into water transportation. Cruise reservations are down 25%, while occupancy has dropped below 80%. Their $30 billion debt, the most of which is connected to the epidemic, is becoming unpayable. Increasing fuel prices, increased health concerns, and global uncertainty are all discouraging vacationers. Routes are being canceled, ships are being sold, even long-term consumers are reconsidering their decision. Delta Airlines, a historical brand previously valued by business travelers, is today crippled by debt and declining demand. Delta's premium client base is dwindling as business travel expenditures are reduced by 20 to 25%. The corporation is $25 billion in debt, and technological problems have already cost $500 million in recovery attempts. Rumors are spreading regarding mergers and frantic restructuring. Spirit Airlines, the ultra-low-cost carrier, survives and dies on volume. Right now, it is dying. With $3 billion in debt, the JetBlue acquisition failed, leaving Spirit stranded. Fuel costs have risen by 20%, and the company's notable customer service failures have eroded public confidence. Load factors are hovering around 75%, disastrous for a strategy that relies on full flights. And then there is Red Lobster. The endless shrimp sale may have gone viral, but it also ruined the bottom line. With over $1 billion in debt and leasing commitments, the corporation has declared bankruptcy. Over 100 shops have shuttered, seafood inflation has slashed profit margins, and buyers for the business have failed to surface. The famous seafood chain is now swimming in shark-infested seas. Entertainment and travel are more than simply luxury. They are the first casualties of a crumbling economy. These businesses thrived on luxury, but pleasure has fled the premises. Some businesses aren't failing. They've already died. They simply haven't recognized it yet. Begin with WeWork, the co-working unicorn that once promised to transform office life. Even after bankruptcy, it still owes more than $10 billion in lease liabilities. But the world has moved on. Remote employment is here to stay. Office occupancy remains below 60% nationwide, and major layoffs in technology have left large buildings unoccupied. WeWork's business model was predicated on enterprises needing space, which they no longer require. GameStop, once resurrected by the meme stock mania, is plummeting back to earth. Physical game sales have become outdated, with digital downloads dominating the industry. GameStop's income is down 50%, and landlords prefer to keep mall space unoccupied rather than deal with unpaid leases. The reality has sunk in. GameStop is not a technology firm. It's a failing retail chain in an obsolete format. $99. Only stores is confronting an impossible paradox. A dollar shop model that no longer works in a world where nothing costs a dollar. Over 400 shops have closed because imported items are now $1.50 or higher. The business concept has crumbled. The firm has reported negative cash flow for 6 consecutive quarters, and inflation has transformed bargain shopping into budget nightmares. Express, a quick fashion mall mainstay, is barely holding on. With over $300 million in debt and mall foot traffic declining, the future appears dismal. Import taxes have increased apparel costs by 15%, and younger consumers are turning to charity stores or experiences instead. Bankruptcy rumors are no longer murmurs. They are prophecies. Finally, Snapchat, Snap Inc. Snap, once the favorite of Generation Z, is currently losing users and income. Daily active users are down 10%, ad sales are down 25%, and $4 billion in debt looms over the company's future. TikTok has captured the youth market, while Meta has acquired the advertising. Snapchat is vanishing not because of competition, but because it has been forgotten. These firms are not in recovery. They are in denial. The lights may still be turned on, but the foundations beneath them are eroding. They will not only tumble in the next crash, but also vanish